and I got my guys with me. SA, live from Vegas, ahead of the major fight. RC, looking clean per usual. And Danny boy, great to see you as well, my friend.
Get anything.
But you clean today, though. Like you have, listen,
his wife
has been sending him different suits and colors that he needs to get. He's been listening.
Look at you.
My dog clean. New money.
The Papa Maroon for the fall? Who's better than you?
Well, it's a little bit, it's more red, white, and blue today. 9/11 in remembrance of. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't have a red, but so the maroon was like the closest thing I had.
Yes,
so.
it is 9/11, and we will never forget, thinking of all those who lost loved ones. All right, let's transition into tonight's game, guys. The Packers and Commanders kick off Week 2 in Green Bay. Both teams coming off wins in Week 1 in convincing fashion. We get to see two top young quarterbacks in action, and Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels. The Pack will try to stymie a Commanders offense that scored at least 20 points in 10 straight games, including the playoffs, tied for their second longest streak in franchise history. Dan, who has the edge tonight? Is it the Commanders' offense or the Packers' defense led by Micah Parsons?
Packers defense. Number 1, they're at home. Number 2, they have a game record in Micah Parsons. And then number 3, last week, one of the things that showed up was they dominated the line of scrimmage against Detroit. Last week against Detroit, 22 runs. They were in Detroit's backfield, meaning they hit the runner at or behind the line of scrimmage at 12 of them. So this is a defensive front that isn't just chase down the quarterback, Micah Parsons, which we know that they can do. But Detroit's offensive line, good unit, probably a unit that is equally on par with Washington, if not better, was dominated by the Green Bay Packers. The fact that they're at home dealing with the crowd noise or utilizing the crowd noise, and can they get Micah to hunt? As much as I love Jaden, and as much as I think that offense is a problem, I'm going to give Green Bay the advantage defensively.
There's zero way that you can look at the film from Week 1 and think anything differently. The way that the Green Bay Packers and Jeff Hafley dominated on each and every level. You think about Micah Parsons was an absolute stud, but Rashawn Gary on the outside as well. Someone who I feel has been underrated throughout his career in Green Bay because he's just been right there with the pressures, but not necessarily completing the sacks. Edgerrin Cooper on the second level is an absolute star. He's going to be an all-pro in this league. And we saw what Xavier McKinney was as he was acquired from the New York Giants the year before. But there's also Javon Bullard and there's Evan Williams and that 3-safety defense that they employ. And let's go back to who the Washington Commanders were Week 1. This was a sloppy football team on offense. Jaden was slightly off. There were drops. They have a problem at the right tackle position with Josh Connerly Jr., the rookie. Now, he's going to be an extremely good player, but when you look at all the adjustments that had to be made by Cliff Kingsbury, whether it was a chip by Deebo Samuel, whether it was a seal or down block by John Bates, I believe they're going to have a big-time problem tonight with this Green Bay Packers defense.
Stephen A.?
Well, it's a couple of things I want to bring up before I even get into the football part. First of all, the haircut is smooth, RC. It's an inspiration. I'm going to get what is happening. Secondly, the suit game, I'm very, very pleased. It's smooth. I got to give you credit. Dio, I got another pair of shades for you because it upgraded your wardrobe look very, very significantly. I'm here for you, my brother. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Even though I get where y'all are coming from and y'all are on the same page, let me in my non-football self respectfully disagree with y'all. I'm going to go with the Commanders' offense as the answer to this question. What we saw in Week 1 was 14 explosive plays that they had executed against a Giants defense you guys convinced me would be relevant this year. There were some questions and trepidation about their offense, but defensively, we looked at the New York Giants on the defensive side, and we said, hey, they should be pretty impressive. And Washington did a lot of good things against them, so I got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. I also have to harken back to the last 6 regular season games that Jaden Daniels has played. In those regular season games, he's 6-0, 15 touchdowns, 4 turnovers, 104-plus passer rating. So I'm looking at his effectiveness, and I'm looking at the fact that he knows you got a cat like Rashawn Gary and, of course, Micah Parsons coming at you. If anybody knows what Micah Parsons is going to bring to the table, it's Dan Quinn. You might run the football at him. You might do what you can. I was watching you this morning on Get Up, Dan, talking about stressing Micah Parsons a little bit, knowing that he's not in complete football shape as of yet, making sure you run him, exhaust him, etc., etc. As you guys know significantly better than me, fatigue makes cowards of us all. And if you can go out there and get him to a point where he's gassed, all right, and he's gasping for air, That might help you if you're the Washington Commanders. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint, and I'm saying going into game 2 combined with what I saw from Detroit in game 1, I got real questions about Dan Campbell's choice for his offensive coordinator right now, considering how awful they looked with all their personnel returning from last year. And the only thing that was different was the offensive coordinator. It's one thing they lose to the Green Bay Packers. It's another thing to get beat up the way that they did, to get humbled and neutralized the way that they did. I didn't like that look at all. I think there's something wrong with Detroit. I think the Commanders are going to be a better version of what Detroit was supposed to be in game 1.
But see, though, like, that's the thing. That's what's happened to the Green Bay Packers that's unfair. It ain't just Micah Parsons. I mean, this defense hunts. I told Dan this little nugget recently. We talked about it on Monday night. Coach Dick LeBeau just turned 88. He's a big-time influence in my life. He said, defenses that are great, the big men run and the little men hit. That's all we saw Sunday from the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. The Green Bay Packers were hunting the Detroit Lions. And I get it. I believe in Jaden Daniels, too. I think he's a top-tier star. I think he makes up for things and mistakes and places and deficiencies that teams have because he's that sort of a racer. But this defense is different. Yeah. It is about Lucas Van Ness finally starting to make plays because now you can move him inside because you have Micah Parsons. It's about playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, swarming to the football, game tackling, Quay Walker being better, Edgerrin Cooper being better. I love the fact that now Jeff Hafley can say, you know what, I can show you I'm bringing 6 and bring 4 and get pressure. And I get it. You want to stress Micah Parsons, but let's not forget, he only played 29 plays. Yeah. This wasn't the Micah Parsons show for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, wait a minute, though. So, see, this is where the problem is, and this is where y'all going to run into a problem for me. Once again, I'm going to remind you, I'm brilliant because I know I'm not. I steal from brilliant minds. R.C. and Dan Orlovsky, who I watch religiously, I didn't hear y'all raving about Green Bay's defense coming into the season. Y'all didn't say they were trash or anything like that, but I didn't hear y'all raving about them. Y'all told me, yo, Jordan Love, keep your eyes on that brother, okay? And that's what y'all have been saying all off season long. In one game, just one game against the Detroit Lions team with both offensive coordinators gone, with Dan Campbell relying on a new offensive coordinator that he probably shouldn't have given the job to if they continue to look the way that they look because Ekstrand is now in New Jersey, with Aaron Glenn with the New York Jets. Y'all weren't mentioning Green Bay on this level. It is possible that Detroit just ain't what we do.
The facts changed, and then your opinion, Mike.
They added
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, they added a dude who gets like 15 sacks a season. So we will be thinking about their defense in a different light. This was a good defense last year that added a game record. One game, but they skunked Detroit, who won 15 last year.
Right. That's right, but it could be because Detroit ain't what they supposed to be. Rather than Green Bay being all y'all are saying
but they can. There's just as much after one game. Detroit's not maybe who they were. They might be as well. We can only go off of the one game. Yeah. This was a good defense. Everyone talked all summer that Green Bay had a good defense. They added a game record.
Dan, tell me this, because I know how closely you pay attention to Philly solely because of your wife's allegiance to that city and that